Imagine losing two beloved daughters in a tragic accident, only to witness them seemingly return a year later in the most mysterious way. The Pollock family of Hexham, England, experienced exactly that, leading to one of the most chilling cases of possible reincarnation ever recorded. Their twin daughters, born after the accident, began to show knowledge, memories, and even birthmarks that eerily matched their lost sisters. Was this truly reincarnation, or something far darker at play? Join me as we explore one of the most perplexing and unsettling tales of a family haunted by the past. Beyond the dark side. The story of Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, the first two daughters of John and Florence Pollock, begins with a glimpse into the lives they led before the tragedy that would change everything. Born into a devout Catholic family in the early 1940s in Hexham, England, Joanna Pollock was the older sister, known for her caring and responsible nature. At 11 years old, Joanna was compassionate and loving, often looking out for her younger sister and nurturing a natural curiosity about the world around her. Joanna enjoyed helping others and was known to have a sensitive, thoughtful personality. Jacqueline Pollock, just 6 years old at the time of her passing, was the younger sister, admired for her lively spirit and playful personality. Though she looked up to Joanna and often followed her lead, Jacqueline had her own mischievous and adventurous streak. Together, the two sisters formed a close bond, often seen playing together in their neighborhood, and became beloved members of their community. One aspect that stood out about the two sisters was their strong sense of faith, nurtured by their devout parents, John and Florence. They regularly attended church with their family and participated in community activities. Joanna in particular was deeply interested in spirituality, and some who knew her recalled that she seemed unusually mature and wise for her age, speaking about faith and the afterlife in ways that surprised even adults. Life in Hexham was relatively simple for the Pollock family. John Pollock, who ran a successful grocery and milk delivery business, worked long hours, while Florence managed the household and cared for their daughters. Though life was not easy, the Pollock family maintained a comfortable, loving environment where both girls could grow up in safety and happiness. The sisters were also fond of imaginative play. They spent hours creating stories together, often acting them out in the garden or neighborhood. Joanna, with her nurturing disposition, loved to play the role of mother to her younger sister and their friends, while Jacqueline enjoyed pretending to be a hero or adventurer. Their bond was deep and heartfelt, and people close to the family often spoke of the unique, almost unbreakable connection between the two sisters. However, Jacqueline had a health condition that concerned her family. She had a distinctive mark, a scar on her forehead, from a childhood accident in which she fell and hit her head on a bucket. This small but noticeable scar became a point of worry for her parents, as Jacqueline occasionally complained of headaches and a sensitivity in that area. Little did they know that this seemingly minor mark would later become a significant aspect of the reincarnation story. On May 5, 1957, as the family prepared to attend Sunday Mass, Joanna and Jacqueline set out with a close friend, intending to walk to the nearby church. It was a route they had taken many times, and they were familiar with the area. But as they crossed the road, a car swerved and struck the two sisters in a horrific accident. Witnesses at the scene described a devastating collision, and both Joanna and Jacqueline died instantly from their injuries. The driver was a woman suffering from a severe emotional breakdown, who later revealed that she had intended to end her own life. Tragically, Joanna and Jacqueline became victims of her despair, and the entire Pollock family was plunged into unimaginable grief. The loss was profound, with John and Florence struggling to come to terms with the sudden absence of their daughters. Florence, in particular, was inconsolable, questioning the meaning of her daughters' deaths. John, however, held on to a deeply rooted belief in reincarnation and felt an inexplicable certainty that Joanna and Jacqueline would return to them in some form. The Pollock family's belief in reincarnation came from an unsettling series of details that surfaced as their twins, Jillian and Jennifer, began to grow. After Joanna and Jacqueline's tragic death in 1957, John and Florence Pollock were devastated, but John held a strong belief in reincarnation. When Florence unexpectedly became pregnant and later gave birth to twins, John saw this as a sign, but what happened next cemented his conviction. Jennifer, one of the twins, was born with 2 birthmarks that closely resembled scars Jacqueline had. One was a mark on her forehead that matched a scar Jacqueline had from a childhood accident, and the other was on her waist in the exact spot Jacqueline had a similar mark. This was unusual, especially as Jillian had no such birthmarks. These specific marks were striking to the parents, who saw them as physical signs that Jacqueline's spirit had somehow returned. As toddlers, the twins began showing a strange familiarity with toys and objects that had belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline. John and Florence had stored these items away, but when they were reintroduced, Jillian and Jennifer recognized them instantly. They would accurately identify which toys belonged to which sister, even calling them by the names Joanna and Jacqueline had given them. This was particularly eerie, as the girls had no prior exposure to these toys. When the family moved back to Hexham, where Joanna and Jacqueline had lived, Jillian and Jennifer began pointing out landmarks familiar to their late sisters. They recognized specific locations, like a school their older sisters attended and a park they frequented. They even knew details of the family's previous home, describing rooms and layouts with uncanny accuracy. The twins also discussed incidents from their sisters' lives, including things only Joanna and Jacqueline would have known, leaving John and Florence stunned. Strangely, Jillian and Jennifer showed a fear of cars, particularly when crossing the road, something they seemed too young to grasp. They would cling to each other and express unease in traffic, mirroring the exact manner in which Joanna and Jacqueline had died. Though the twins had no direct reason to fear cars, their reactions seemed deeply ingrained and specific. Observers noted that the twins exhibited personality traits similar to their late sisters. Jillian had a mature and responsible demeanor, mirroring Joanna's nurturing nature, while Jennifer was more playful and mischievous, much like Jacqueline. The family and even close friends of the Pollocks remarked on how their personalities aligned almost perfectly with those of Joanna and Jacqueline. The children's past life memories gradually faded by the time they reached around age 7, but the events had already left an indelible mark on the family. The story of the Pollock sisters remains a highly debated topic. Researchers like Dr. Ian Stevenson documented the case meticulously, adding it to his extensive work on children who remember past lives. While skeptics believe these behaviors might have been influenced by John's firm belief in reincarnation and possible subconscious cues given by the parents, the specifics, such as Jennifer's birthmarks and the girls' vivid recollections, remain difficult to explain. For believers, Joanna and Jacqueline's story offers compelling evidence that life might continue beyond death, and that the bonds between loved ones may transcend a single lifetime. To this day, the Pollock sisters' case is cited in discussions about reincarnation, serving as one of the most well-known examples of this mysterious phenomenon. The story has since become one of the most compelling cases cited in discussions of reincarnation, leaving scientists, skeptics, and believers with questions that linger to this day. Do you believe in reincarnation? If so, do you think the Pollock sisters' story is evidence of it? Do you think the birthmarks on Jennifer matching Jacqueline's scars are just a coincidence, or is there something more to it? Could the twins' knowledge of their sisters' lives and places they'd never been be explained by something other than reincarnation? What other explanations might there be for the strange memories and behaviors the twins exhibited? What are your thoughts?